Hello there, you're welcome again to my YouTube channel, and in this video today we're going to be taking a walk through a sample IELTS reading question just so we get to practice those tips as mentioned in the previous video on this playlist, right? So we're going to be learning two particular things. We're going to be learning, first of all, how to identify restated or rephrased information in the passage. Secondly, we're going to be learning this with respect to these almighty true false not given question type. So without wasting some more time, right, let's delve right into the content of today's video. I will be exemplifying all of the steps, all of the tips and strategies I outlined in the previous video using this. In the first place, I would like to begin as the third step I mentioned earlier, right? Begin by taking a scan of the passage and the question type so I know what portions of the passage to focus on for particular questions, and of course know the kind of questions I am working with. So obviously you can see on my screen here that I have questions 1 to 7 are true false not given questions, and they're already presuming that my answers for questions 1 to 7 will come from the top of the essay. Now the next question I have is a multiple choice question, and the same thing applies here. We're looking for keywords and we're just find the keywords from the text, and we're using the multiple choice questions are for questions 8 to 13. Okay, I think we only have two questions for two question types, right? 1 to 13, 1 to 7 first, then we have 8 to 13, and the first question type happens to be true false not given. The next happens to be multiple choice. So from the passage, is a very lengthy passage, so I can tell that apparently it is going to follow the chronological order I spoke about in the previous episode on this playlist, right? So we want to begin by identifying what keywords. Remember, I mentioned the importance of paraphrasing, understanding paraphrasing. So I know my answers are all in this passage. It is just a matter of me being able to identify the keywords and see how those words are rephrased in the passage. So I'll typically begin with the first set of one now, and equity is a study of how living things have evolved over time. So keywords here, chronobiology first of all, so we're going to highlight that keyword, and we also have how living things have evolved, right? The study of how living things have evolved, right? And there's also the word study to highlight too. So we quickly highlight those words, and those are the words we're simply looking to see in the text in rephrased form, remember? So move right into the text now. From the first part, I want to see the study, the definition of what chronobiology is as a study. Here we have chronobiology might sound a little futuristic, like something from a science, but it is actually a study. So we can see something close to our keyword. Now they're about telling us what kind of study chronobiology is. A field of study that concerns one of the oldest processes of life. Hope this is clear enough. So I want to highlight that, and we're looking for the study of how living things evolve, and now we can see the study of chronobiology, which is pointing to either a true or a false. Remember, they are capturing the key meaning about study of chronobiology, what the study entails. So here we have, it is the oldest process of life on this planet has ever known, short-term readings of time and their effect on flora and fauna. So obviously it is the study of the effect of time on flora and fauna. Flora, of course, referring to plants, fauna referring to animals. And then the question again says it is a study of how living things have evolved. So the text also defines what the study is, but then it is not what the question gives us. So this is obviously a false. So you see, this is a false answer. It gives us a wrong notion about what the study of chronobiology is all about. In the option, in the question, we have evolved over time, how living things have evolved, and here we have the effect of time on plants and animals. So you see, there are two different things, right? Yes. The next question, the rise and fall of sea levels affects how sea creatures behave. So keywords, rise and fall of sea levels, so we want to highlight that. Affects how living creatures behave. Remember, we're going to expect to rephrase that, right? So rise and fall, I mean, when the sea goes up and down, expect that the text may not necessarily mention rise and fall. It may mention it upward and downward slope or whatever. And then how sea creatures behave, that means the behavioral mechanisms, the attitudes of the creatures in the water. So we may not have sea creatures, we may be told creatures in the water or living organisms in the water. So I'm expecting that as well. So go right into the text, continuing from where I left off, right? So see, obviously the previous answer came from the bottom of the first paragraph, which points to the fact that the other answer will come from underneath. So this can take many forms. That means, of course, chronobiology takes many forms. Marine life, so I have seen sea creatures rephrased. So they're about sea. In the question, remember, we have how sea creatures behave. We've seen marine life, so we're holding on to that keyword. For example, is influenced by tidal patterns. So obvious, I think I've seen my answer. I'm sure you can tell by now that this is true, right? Marine life, for example, is influenced by tidal patterns. And here we have the rise and fall of sea levels, which is synonymous with the idea of tidal patterns, of course, how the sea goes up and comes down. And sea creatures behave, right? We see that marine life, for example, is influenced. Behavior is captured in that word live, and being influenced is captured by the phrase and by the word affects. So you see, every word is justified. The key word as well as the meaning of the sentence in the question is retained in the text. So is a no-brainer. The answer is obviously true. For the next question, moving on, the third question, remember I'm following it chronologically and see how it is working. Most animals are active during the daytime. So keyword most animals, active is the key verb, of course, being active during the daytime. So we don't expect that they may mention daytime. Daytime can be rephrased in so many ways. It can be during the day, it can be during the period of sunlight. Is also daytime. Being active can also mean to be up and about with their activities, right? Most animals, and we have most animals, which means majority of animals. So I try to figure out in what possible ways the keywords I have can be rephrased before moving into the text. So you see, moving into the text now, we're continuing right from where we left off, right? Animals tend to be active or inactive depending on the position of sunlight. This hasn't said anything, although I have seen animals, but I have not seen most animals, right? And I said animals can be active or inactive during the day, depending on the position of the sunlight, right? Which means that depending on whether it is night or day, animals can be active or inactive. But I've not seen that statement justify that they are mostly active during the day. Now, numerous creatures, humans included, are largely diurnal. That is, they like to come out. So the idea of coming out points to being active as well during the hours of sunlight, which points to daytime. So let's see whether this is a true, false, or a not given. Numerous creatures, first of all, isn't the same thing as most animals. Animals are a kind of creature, right? Creatures, your mountains, the hills, the plants are all creatures as well. Creatures. So of course, numerous creatures, humans, one of them, like to come out during the day. So we do not see the information about animals being active during the day. What we have instead is the idea of numerous creatures being active during the hours of sunlight. So this is obviously not given, and it is simple. The key point here is about most animals being active during the day. But what we have here is numerous creatures, which is not exclusive to animals. So the point made about activity during the day is not with respect to, obviously, most animals. So that is a not given statement. The fourth question, circadian rhythms identify how we do different things on different days. How we do different things on different days. Keyword, circadian rhythm. And then we have how we do different things on different days. So let me go and identify circadian rhythm in the text. It is obviously take a quick scan of, obviously the word circadian rhythm cannot be rephrased to anything else possibly, because that is of course a scientific concept, and you don't often have scientific concepts rephrased in texts, right? So we don't have that in that paragraph anymore. The next paragraph, I can see it right in the beginning of the next third paragraph. When it comes to humans, chronobiologists are interested in what is known as circadian rhythm. Remember, circadian rhythm refers to how we do different things on different days. This is the complete cycle our bodies are naturally geared to undergo within the passage of a 24-hour day. That means this is the process our body goes through within a day. And this says circadian rhythm identify how we do different things on different days. So obviously, what we have here about circadian rhythm is the fact that it is the complete cycle our bodies are naturally geared to undergo within the passage of a 24-hour day, not different days. It's about what our body does within a day, not different days. So obviously that is a false statement. The next question, number 5, a night person, keyword night person. Notice how I am running through this as quickly as possible, following that chronological order. A night person can still have a healthy circadian rhythm. Keywords, a night person, right? And notice now that circadian rhythm has been given a definition, doing how our bodies, the cycle our bodies go through within a 24-hour period. So in case we do not have the exact word circadian rhythm close to when we have this night, where we have this night person information, right, we could have that idea of the activities our body go through within a 24-hour period, used to rephrase circadian rhythm. So from where we left off, so the fact that we have many more details means that we're following the text chronologically. So I'm looking at aside from sleeping at night and waking during the day, each cycle involves many other factors such as changes in blood pressure and whatever. So not everyone has an identical circadian. Night people, see, that has rephrased that idea of a night person. See, night person. Of course, night people is a good way to rephrase it. Of course, a night person is one among night people. So I don't think that information has been contradicted, is still intact. For example, often describe how they find it very hard to operate during the morning. That means they are not active, they're not at their best during the morning, but become alert. So I want my students about contrast word choices like but, however, and how important it is to take note of them, because they tend to introduce a new information that could now be your answer. So we are told here that these night people find it hard to operate during the morning, but notice what's coming through, and they become alert and focused by evening. So obviously becoming alert and focused is the way the text has rephrased that idea of being healthy. So you can see by evening, so it means that they can also have a healthy circadian rhythm. Yes, alert and focused night people, everything captured. So obviously that is a true statement. Number 5 is also true. Number 6, new therapies can permanently change circadian rhythms without causing harm. Keyword, new therapies, right? It can be new medication, new treatment pattern, can permanently, please be careful of extreme adverbs like this, change circadian rhythm without causing harm. So see, highlighting. Now let's continue from where we left off. This is a benign variation. We can't see anything about new therapies there, so moving on, right? Notice that we got our previous answer from the bottom of the third paragraph, which means the next set of questions will take us to the next paragraph. Scientists have limited abilities to create durable modifications points to treatment stuff. So I'm thinking there's a pointer to what we're looking for. Okay, I've seen something better. Recent therapeutical developments for humans, such as artificial light machines, right, and administration can reset our circadian rhythms. For example, okay, I can see the idea of resetting, but I've not seen that it can reset permanently, but our bodies can tell the difference, and health suffers when we breach, of course. So you see, I want to be careful of extreme word choices, words like never, best, most, and of course permanently is one of them. You will see a lot more as you take more practice questions, right? So often when you have your options with such extreme word choices, they're either false or not given, because the text you have are scholarly material, they are scholarly articles, and the principle around writing scholarly articles is that you leave room for others to argue or contest the argument you have put out. So you see, so you hardly find scholarly articles that have extreme word choices purporting to be the only thing and nothing else. So because of that, you want to be careful when you have extreme word choices in your questions. There are either false statements or not given statements. So obviously this is a false statement, because our health obviously suffers from new therapies. If you're asking what the word new, where the word new was rephrased, obviously recent is new. So you see, the same principle of understanding. So if you notice, I have not necessarily read the text in a whole to understand what is going on, but one thing is sure, as I deal with the questions, I get to understand what is going on. The final question for this question type: naturally produced vegetables have more nutritional value. Keyword: naturally produced vegetables, more nutritional value. Right? So I want to highlight that. So let's see, naturally produced. So we can have naturally produced rephrased. Of course, it's a common word and it can be rephrased. So it can be plants that grow on their own, plants that grow without any kind of mechanical without any kind of mechanical fertilization. So expect that to be coming anyway. So towards the end, we have the idea of plant. Plants appear no more malleable in this respect. Studies demonstrate that vegetables grown, I've seen vegetables, but I want to be sure, is it naturally produced vegetables? Vegetables grown in season and ripened on the tree. Obviously, this is naturally grown. Grown in season and ripened on the tree are far higher in essential nutrients than those grown in greenhouse or ripened by laser. So obviously, naturally produced vegetables are healthier, have more nutritional values. Look at what we see is are higher in essential nutrients, far higher, indicating the comparison we have in the question. So two statements. So moving on, so you've learned just how to, the same applies for the other questions, right? Remember, I've emphasized in the previous recording the need to take some time to understand true, false, not given, work on as many true, false, not given as possible, and understand what is recurring among all of the correct answers, right? That helps you better know how to rephrase, right? Tell you when you're working with the answer keys, and the answer keys are now showing you where the answers are mentioned in the passage. Or you would of course need the help of a tutor, for which I am very much available here. You can check out my... Alright then, there you have it. I hope that was clear enough. Yes, in the next video, I am going to be discussing other tips with respect to other question types. Or if there are particular question types you want me to discuss in the next video, right? You want to use the comment section to that effect. Use the comment section to let me know what other question type you would like me to deal with in a subsequent video. And of course, I may just be generous enough to deal with that question next time. And before you leave this video, remember to subscribe and like this page, right? And of course, it will inform the algorithm that you're interested in the content coming out from here, and you'll be notified when the next video I am sure you really need comes up. Now, until we meet in that other video, right, I wish you the very best in your test, and I hope you keep practicing with these tips you're learning here.